Minasan konnichiwa. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new to the channel. My name is Jory. Welcome to another reaction video. So for this video, I'm going to be reacting to the rising number of foreign tourists interview at the Atomic Bomb Museum. What do you feel in Hiroshima? Alright, let's go ahead and check this out, and please subscribe to the channel. If you're new or yet to subscribe, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Alright, let's jump right straight into the video.
What was the feeling you got after visiting this museum? What was the feeling you get after visiting the museum?
Oh.
What was the feeling you got after visiting the museum?
Oh, it's a Peace Memorial
Thank you for your
Museum.
time. Where are you from?
I'm from the States,
Which part of US you from?
Virginia.
You traveling alone?
I'm in the
Oh.
military.
I see. Okay, you
I look very young.
are in Kure, maybe?
You are Queenie.
Do you mind if I ask you how old are you?
I'm 19.
19. You look very young. So okay, how long you are going to stay in Japan?
I'm gonna be here for a while. So I'm gonna maybe like 2 years.
2 years. What was the impression about Hiroshima?
I've been hearing things about it, and I've seen like pictures and all. It's quite devastating what actually happened. The bodies, the clothes. It's quite sad,
Yeah.
but like this happened.
So what was the feeling you got in the museum? So the sadness and
It was quite
Aw.
emotional. I didn't really see everything because I was really getting sad, so I just glanced through it, took some pictures, and I just went out. I couldn't bear it.
so it was too much shocking for you.
Yes, it was.
Any specific exhibition you remember?
The man, the elf, the man and his family. I think after the bombing and his life, and then he died at the end. That was quite heartbreaking.
Did you learn about Hiroshima in school?
I didn't learn about it. I did my research. I saw things about it online, but then I did my own personal research about it. And now I'm here to see it.
What you learned from the research?
Well, the bomb that was dropped, what date, why it was dropped, what led to the bombing, the atomic bombing. Yeah, that's basically it.
And is there anything like changed after visiting the museum, and before and after there is any difference?
I believe things will actually still, depending on how the countries react, bombs and nuclear weapons will still be made. It won't stop. Things like this will still happen in the future. It's just waiting for the time for it to come, really.
So what this visit means to you?
What does it mean to me?
Well, I can ask you for another question. What is peace for you, since you are in Peace Memorial Park? For me, peace is like, of course, no war, but like no anxiety, no fear. Also, like hoping for the future.
Peace is when North Korea and the US are friends, which probably never happened. That's when peace is. That's what I believe. When everyone can come together without color, without female or male, and like just be together. That's my definition of peace.
So everything get together. That's the peace.
Yes.
That's very interesting. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Where are you from?
I'm from Italy.
I'm from Germany.
You traveling together?
Yes.
We are married, and so
So, what is the impression about Hiroshima?
For me, it's very interesting. It's very new and crowded, but at the same time, because of the historical past, it's a very peaceful and calm. It's kind of, contrasting feeling.
yeah, it was very important for me to be here because I think it's a city important for world history, and it's very, on the one hand you have this very modern city that feels very normal, and on the other hand, of course, knowing the history, walking here through the park is very, has a bit of a ghostly feeling.
So, have you visited the Peace Memorial Museum?
Yes, today.
So, what was the feeling you get after visiting the museum?
Yeah, I don't have many words. It's a very well done exhibition. I think the difference between the darkness part and then the light where you see all the park, it's very impressive. I would say extremely sad, but very nicely done, very impressive.
So the last question is, what this visit means to you?
Well, it is different than what we study, right? One thing is when you study during the school, of course, history of your own country and all around the world. One thing is to be in a place where all this happened and then read and kind of try to understand the feeling or what happened really in that place at the time. So I think it has an additional value rather than reading from a book or studying at school.
Can I ask, what was the difference you got from visiting here?
Well, now you go deeply into the life of kids and family and people. Is a more personal aspect that it goes beyond what you study from a textbook, at least in my country. Yeah.
For me, it's very important to be here, and I think it's important to also make clear to yourself that this must never happen again, and I think everybody should visit this museum.
Especially now. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Where are you from?
Australia.
Are you traveling?
Yes, this is my last day here, and then I'm flying back home from Tokyo.
Okay. So you traveling alone?
No, I'm travelling with my mum. She's just still in there looking at the exhibits.
Okay. What is the impression about Hiroshima, about the city?
I do think it's quite eerie about how to think that there's only been 2 A-bombs dropped in the world used in combat, and the first one was right here, just over there somewhere, about a couple hundred meters, where it was detonated about 600 meters above. So but the city itself is, I find it is beautiful, the modern city, but it does have a sense of eeriness when you come to this park, especially in the museum. When you see the after effects, it's truly brutal.
So what was the feeling you got after visiting the museum?
How would I describe it? I wouldn't say sad, more depressing. A lot of people where I was in with, they were crying. One man fainted while I was in the museum, right, just sort of near me, which is, it really is understandable when you read the stories about some of more the individuals of, there was a bloke called N, that was just his name, and about how he suffered through the bombings and the aftermath of living in poverty, how he couldn't support his family, and he tried to commit suicide, bringing his children along with him, but he just couldn't do it.
It's so emotional to listen to.
It was just horrendous. And learning about the story of the girl who folded the 1,000 paper cranes. Sadako, yes, that's it. Just hearing about her story, it was just devastating. But, it was very eerie.
You read all the story in detail.
Yeah, every single one.
So the last question is, what this visit means to you?
I've learned a lot about the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Cold War in school and just on my own, and how close we were to, human extinction, because I believe that the only thing that can bring us to extinction level event is ourselves. That's it. And we were so close. I don't know if you know the story about the nuclear submarine just off Cuba who thought that the war had already began.
The Cold War, during the Cold War?
Yeah, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, who they were about to launch a ballistic missile onto the United States, but the third officer, that beautiful man, second-guessed his superiors, and he was right and prevented a extinction level event. But I think it's good reading about the last part of the museum, how they're the international community is coming together to bring down the disarmed nuclear weapons from all around the world, and trying to dismantle it and abolish them completely, which I think is a brilliant idea, and it needs to be done. It's they do have their uses, not nuclear weapons, nuclear power, such as generators. I believe that is a very good thing, very good for the environment and whatnot, but weapons, there's no need for them. But yeah, that's about it. Arigato.
Arigato. Thank you for your time. Where are you from?
I'm from Holland.
Are you traveling?
Yes, we're traveling here with my family, my wife and 2 children. We're spending 2 weeks in Japan. We were in Tokyo before, in Hakone, and now in Hiroshima, and then we'll move on to Kyoto later on.
Okay. So what was the impression about Hiroshima?
Quite impressive. So obviously we learn at school about what happened during the World War and then the history and the atomic bomb. So to be able to come and visit the museum, and also to visit, yesterday evening we visit the A-bomb dome, and the remains on that site. It's really impressive, and it shows another side of the war. See, in Europe, in our education, we put a lot of focus on the Allied forces and the war against Germany, but actually the involvement of Japan, it's explained, but not so much in detail. But it's also impressive to see the real effects of the atomic bomb on Japan and on the life after. So even people who were not victims of the explosion directly, sometimes were involved or affected later on in their lives. And the museum really explains all the different aspects of the nuclear weapons and the bomb itself.
The effect afterwards.
Exactly, yeah.
So what was the feeling you got after visiting this museum?
It's always kind of making you realize how deeply the consequences are of war in general, but also of these specific nuclear weapons, how dangerous that is, and how devastating it can be on humankind. And also in the context of today, it really, with the war in Ukraine, it really makes you think about, could something like this at some scale happen again, and hopefully not, because you really sense the devastation that these weapons bring with it.
My last question is, what this visit means to you?
I was just talking to my wife. What actually was maybe the thing which remains most in my mind is obviously it's the images and the whole setup of the museum. It's really well documented, but from a story point of view, in Europe, what we learn in school is that the Americans, they used the bomb because they found it the only way to make Japan capitulate, to end the war. But if you visit the museum and you look at the documentation, you actually see that there were other motives behind it as well, and that the Americans were afraid of Russian influence over Japan, and they wanted to kind of avoid that, because also in Europe there was some disagreement on how Europe should be rebuilt after the war. And if you put that then also in context of today, it makes you also think about how the powers in the world how they function, and what that can have of devastating effects sometimes. It's a bit of it makes you think. It brings a lot of elements for reflection.
Reflection in what sense?
Yeah, about humankind, about what is important in this world, and how we should strive for peace, and the importance of accepting people from different cultures, try to build and live in this world together, and avoid war and violent conflict.
Thank you so much.
This is such an interesting video to watch, but at the same time it's very emotional, it's very sad, like in as much that I've not been to this place. From the way they are talking, I can actually, feel that deep emotions based on the things they actually saw in there. This is my first time I'm hearing about the atomic bomb museum. War is not anything anybody wants to experience, any country or any nation wants to experience. There's nothing good comes from it rather than destruction. That's it. This was such an emotional, sad video to watch. Leave your thoughts about this one, what you think about the atomic bomb museum, and don't forget to like the video and share. Thank you for watching with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You will see me. Bye for now.